see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Brian, and today is Wednesday, July 3rd, 2024, and this is episode 733 of the Lots Project podcast, and it's titled Danger, Danger, and I'll be chatting about a day we lost our silver mullet, the nightmare that came next, and a new smell in the neighborhood, and a little bit more. We'll see what we get to today. First, let's roll over into the live chat, see who's hanging out in the coffee crew. Grab a cup and hang out for about an hour. I hope everybody is doing well this morning. Good morning. Good morning. Look like we only got one early riser in, Mike's Homestead. Good morning, Mike's Homestead. Hopefully you're doing all right today. I saw that picture you posted in the Telegram chat last night, and oh boy, that was it's a large boy. Rachel was wondering, and I also wanted to confirm what type of serpent was that in the Telegram chat that you posted. Good morning, Hunter, over on Twitch. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. What do we got in the cup this morning? What do we have in the cup this morning? New blend Brian sent out from Food Forest Farms with my C4 membership. What is C4? C4 is a monthly coffee club, but it's a lot more than that. The details would be a lot to get into this morning, but the crux of it is every month you get coffee mailed out to you. Oh no, Mike's Homestead had an ad of Obama looking for $5 for Joe and Kamala. Wow. They really had the right target, here for sure. It was a timber rattler. Okay. Hey Corey, you were right. It was a timber rattler. The picture last night. Oh, all right. Anyway, C4 Club is pretty fantastic. It's a great way to support a small business. Brian over at Food Forest Farms is a coffee roaster. He does a fantastic job at roasting coffee, and he's put together a coffee club. Basically, you commit to ordering a minimum of 2 pounds per month per slot. He's taking up to 100. Only 100 people, and he's getting close to that. Excuse me. He's getting closer and closer to that every day. I think he's got under 30 spots available left. Last I thought, maybe 35. But getting there. Once that happens, it closes the door. No more coffee from Brian. You'll only be able to get it from his C4 members. And another benefit of the C4 Club is you get to white label your own coffee. You get to white label your own coffee. Brian will come up with a blend for you. You can describe what you want for him to make, and he will come up with it. You can test it. You can come up with a label, and there you go. You're selling your own coffee brand. Once the coffee club is closed, once that 100 people are fulfilled and everything is locked down, you'll only be able to order coffee from one of the members. Today I'm drinking the Opti blend. I don't know if that is one of his white labels or if that is one of his new creations, but it tastes fantastic. I'm going to have to ask him what's in it when he pops around into the chat or when I grab him later. But this is fantastic. I haven't had it before. Man, it's just really good. I am not quite good enough yet to pick out the beans in a blend. I wish I was. I really wish I was. I think if I did enough tasting with known samples and compared them, I'd be all right at it. But I drink one bag at a time. I'm never really comparing and contrasting two different types of beans at the same time. But this is fantastic. Well done, Brian. If you guys want to pick some coffee up from Brian at Food Forest Farms, clean air stream roasted coffee, small batches done in I guess it's considered micro batches. by a real human being that puts his love and knowledge into every batch. You can go to foodforestfarms.com, check it out. You can get 10% off. One-time use coupon LOTS10, LOTS10. LOTS10 will get you 10% off one time if you use that up and you still want to get a little discount, even though the price is phenomenal there. For regular ordering and even better with the coffee club, you can use LOTS5, LOTS5 for 5% off every day, all day long, every day, forever, anything at the site. Check it out. foodforestfarms.com. You won't regret it. Pip, good morning. How we doing? Pip says, does she hear that a lot? The Corey, you were right. Yeah. Why not? I mean, I give her due for sure. If she's right, I tell her. I mean, I definitely tell her when she's wrong. And a lot of the time it's probably my opinion that no, I don't. I try not to tell her when she's wrong, and I definitely give her credit when she's right because she's right more often than not. Yeah. So Mike posted a picture of a big old snake in the Telegram chat last night. What do you figure that is? 4 footish, Mike. I don't know how wide that road is, but that's a decent size snake. And Rachel in the group had asked what kind it was. I wasn't sure. I had asked Corey last night, and she's like, I don't know. I think there might be a rattle at the end of that thing. And I said, I don't know. I don't know the markings of the snakes enough here in Tennessee. I know probably 5 foot. Yeah, I was guessing that 4 to 5 just by eyeballing it on the road there. And you said that was the second day you've seen it in second day in a row you'd seen it, or second day in a short period of time you'd seen it, just hanging around, huh? Well, it is what it is. I suppose I should probably get better at recognizing the local snakes since we're here for a while and we're out in the woods, and I seem to have seen random snakes here and there. Oh, it's bigger around in their bicep, but that's not really saying much. I've met you. Oh, just the second one this year. Okay. I thought you had said that it was every day or 2 days in a row. Second one this year. It happens. We live in their world, and we don't often think about the fact that we live in their world. But anyway, speaking of mindset changes and thinking about living in their world, I happened to hit up the Daily Stoic this morning. I've been hitting it in the morning before the show. When I first picked up the book, I was reading it after the show. And my schedule just got a little busy to do that, or to consistently remember to do it. And I fell off for a little bit. I got back on. And the other morning, it was last week, I was sitting here and I had like 5 minutes before the show started. And I was going to go click on some social media site or keep looking up some information that I was working on the night before or the day before, one of these tabs. And I was pretty much done. And I said, those passages in the Daily Stoic don't really take that long to read. They take a little longer to digest, I'd say, but I think reading it before the show, I've been way more consistent, and then I've had it just rattling around in my brain all day. But today's passage didn't need to rattle all too much because it's something that I've heard before. And I think it was a good reminder to try to go down that path again. And what they were talking about was shifting all your have tos into get tos. If that makes sense. I'll say it again. Shifting all your have tos to get tos. Instead of a have to do list, you have a get to do list. When you look at the items that you have to do every day, you look at the items that happen to you on a day-to-day basis. Really shift that focus into the mindset that you're getting to experience this. You're getting to do it. If it's something you don't want to do, find something positive about it and realize that you get to experience that, or you get to learn that skill, or you get to accomplish it. You get to do something that you don't necessarily want to do, but you're going to get it knocked off the list. A shift in focus like that, instead of that have to and that obligation, into that get to and that appreciation, kind of shifts the focus on everything that comes up in your day, if you can roll with that. So that was just something I read this morning. I had heard that quite a bit, and I've kind of gone down that path before at different points in my life. Usually when I'm pretty miserable, when I need that big change, when I need to get out of my own head, that was something that would pop up. And it's odd that a lot of the things that I found comfort in, or found valuable, random things that just came along during life, have been rooted in Stoicism. I didn't know it at the time. Like, I didn't know that this philosophy was something from Marcus Aurelius. I didn't know that this philosophy was from the Stoics when I did it, when I first heard of it, when I've messed around with it before. But reading it in the book today, it makes sense. And there's been several other correlations like that along the way. So I don't know if you're interested in the book. I'm talking about the Daily Stoic. You can roll down into the video description, the audio description. It's down there. Amazon link for it. I'll grab a little commission off it if you buy it. It's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. I'll roll through it till the end for sure, and then I don't see not doing it next year. I don't see getting to the end and stopping this. I've actually contemplated moving into the journaling aspect of the Daily Stoic. They also have a companion journal that goes along with it. You can expand upon it. So that might be the next step in this, because I'm really getting quite a bit out of it. So I suggest you check it out if you don't have it. You can also get the email, I believe, online. You can get the digital version on a Kindle or your phone. The hard copy is pretty nice to pick up and just page through. So I don't know, just a little recommendation. If you're looking for some daily reading. I like I said, it takes like 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes a day, if that, and then it can stick with you, and you can think about it. So what's on the line today, or on the topic list today? I got reminded of I guess it was one day that spiraled into about a year, probably a year. So we're going to go back. So this is right prior to us buying our farm. Actually, like immediately preceding us buying our farm back in 2014-ish. And I believe we closed in December of 2014. And moved in. So yeah, we put 2015 because it was December in Minnesota, and that it's like things are barely alive anyway, so it didn't really, that 3 or 4 weeks didn't really matter. But anyway, Chris Dixon, good morning, thanks for stopping. He says read Meditations too. I guess it's more of interpretation than it is actually just reading. Yeah, why not? Is that a daily thing, Chris? Like the Daily Stoic is set up? Or is that see, my problem with stuff like that is I dive too far at once. I want to consume more once I start, and the way the Daily Stoic is set up is perfect because it's just a nibble every day. Just a little nibble. So that's what I like about it. But always willing to read more and go down different paths. Anyway, so we were getting ready to buy our farm. Corey and I had a minivan and we loved it. I will never get on somebody's shit for driving a minivan. The thing is so versatile. It's so big. We used it as a pickup truck. We used it as a party wagon. We used it to haul shit around, to go get groceries, to go to go to Target or Walmart or wherever. You can fill the back up. The thing had the stow and go seats. Our minivan, I think it was a Caravan. It was like bare bones. We liked it that way. We didn't like all the fancy bullshit, the high end packages and all that. It just seems like more shit to break. It did have the stow and go seats. Silver. We called it our silver mullet because it was all business in the front, but you could party in the back if you wanted to. We loved it. We drove it quite a bit. We would take it up to the cabin, and it was comfortable to ride in. We were still in the cities, but we were getting ready to move to the farm, and we figured it would be a good utility vehicle there. Especially we couldn't at that point afford a big pickup truck or anything. So, Dixon says the Dodge Grand Loser Cruiser. Yeah, he says we still love ours. Yeah, it was fantastic. So this was in early 2000 or mid like 2010, 2009, something like that. It was fantastic. We loved it. So we used this while we were searching for our farm. When we were searching for our farm, we drove. Our budget wasn't real comparable for what we wanted. We were looking for like a minimum of 10 acres and a farmhouse or a modular home or whatever. But we were looking for land, and the fact that we lived right in the cities, literally a few miles outside of Minneapolis in a first ring suburb, we had to go quite a ways to find a property that had acreage, that had a structure, that had electricity, that had all the things you need to move in on our budget. And so it was like weekend trips. We'd go look at 2 or 3 houses in this general direction one weekend, 2 or 3 houses in this direction the next weekend. Our realtor was fantastic. She, both of them, husband and wife couple, they did a fantastic job. But regardless, we found our farm that we were going to buy. It was about 90-ish miles north of where we were. We went up and we looked at it. Originally, it was out of our price range. We went up and looked at it again at the end, like after we had exhausted all the properties, and we ended up putting in an offer we could afford that was way lower than the asking price, and it was accepted, which was, it was really, it was cool. It was kind of meant to be, I guess. That it was still available. It was literally one of the first properties we looked at, and it ended up being one of the ones we bought. Good morning, Real Wilder Life. Just to catch you up, Mike's Homestead said that was a timber rattler that was in the picture. I don't know if you put that in the Telegram chat or not, but just wanted to let you know. And so we put the purchase offer in the farm. You put the offer in, and all the paperwork goes through, and blah blah blah, and all that stuff. And so if you've bought a house, you know that you have the final inspection before closing. And so Corey and I and my son drove up there and did the final inspection. And we're driving home. It's about a 90-minute drive home ish, and the majority of it was all highway, 65 miles an hour highway, straight down through. It was one of those highways that had been converted from an old, you had the old 169 and then the new 169 that was like 4 lanes. Still went through a couple towns where you had stoplights. One of them was a one stoplight, and then the next group of stoplights, like 8 miles further south, there was like 4 or 5 in a row. And so we're coming home. We're cruising along in the van. My son's asleep in the back, in the far back seat, like kind of just dozed off like kids do when you drive. And Corey and I are in the front. We're minding our own business. We're coming up to that second set of stoplights, and we see on the side of the road fire engines, police cars, lights everywhere. And we're like, oh, there must be an accident, which isn't uncommon for that area. It's I don't want to say it's more common in the winter for sure, for accidents there, but it's getting into the city traffic. It's like a merge of city driving fucking retards and people just minding their own business. It's kind of this where they blend together. It's the beginning of the suburbs, if you've ever gone through that those kind of driving situations, or people that have moved out of the city to the suburbs and they still drive like they're in the middle of the city. Well, anyway, we're like, oh, look at that accident. And the light turns yellow, the light turns red, and Corey and I roll up to the stoplight. There was somebody in front of us. Might have been actually 2 cars in front of us at the light, but there was definitely somebody in front of us. And we're sitting there, and Corey all of a sudden said, oh, shit. And coming up behind us at like 45 miles an hour, without tapping the brakes at all, comes this lady flying. And what was she driving, Corey? Yeah, one of those old Buicks. One of the Buicks that all the like teenage kids got when their parents held on to them because they never died. Yeah, this like 50-year-old woman was driving one. Old, big boat, 45 miles an hour. Didn't tap the brakes, right into the fucking ass end of us. My kids' glasses fly off. They run it. They end up in the front seat of the van. Corey and I knew it was coming. Both of us had experienced accidents and relaxed enough. Our headrest exploded. That was something that happened that we were unaware of. That was a safety feature in that Dodge Caravan. Was it had the whiplash proof headrest. And so what happens there is when the kind of like an airbag, when you got impacted from the rear, there you go. There's your clip for the day. When you get impacted from the rear, the headrest actually kind of explodes open. And so when your head snaps back, it has like a cushion. And I swear to God, guys, we got rear-ended at 45 miles an hour, and I didn't even get sore in my neck. Like, no whiplash whatsoever. But anyway, Bryce was okay. My kid was okay. Corey was okay. I was okay. The van, unfortunately, was not okay. We get out of the vehicle, and I walk back, and the lady, like, I didn't feel for her at all at that moment. I still don't to this day because of what happened after. But I walk out of the van, and I'm walking up to her vehicle. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, seriously? And she had like a 3-year-old, 4-year-old in the back seat of her car. It was her grandchild. They were watching the fire trucks clearing the accident. And we had been sitting at a stoplight for 30 seconds minimum with cars in front of us. So it wasn't like we shorted a yellow and stopped or anything like that. This was like legit. We rolled up to the red light. We're sitting there waiting, and then wham! She's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was like, fuck you. Like, really? Really? So anyway, the cops and the firemen were right there across the street. So they like walk over and they're like, hey, you guys all right? Like she had snapped both her legs and was stuck in the car. So she was a little rougher shape than I, or Corey or Bryce. We called family to come pick us up. And they towed our mullet. They towed the silver mullet and definitely totaled. Even though the front looked fantastic, she was going fast enough that she pushed the van a couple car lengths forward and did damage to the car in front of us. Like I said, she didn't touch the brakes at all. Turns out this woman's name, when we got the letter in the mail asking if we wanted to sue her or not, which I 100% should have, 1000% should have sued her for all the fucking hoops and bullshit we had to go through with our insurance and our loan and finding a new vehicle and what I'm going to tell you about the next vehicle. All of it, I should have sued the living shit out of that lady. But her name, ironically, was Vicky Danger. Vicky Danger. Here she comes. I just kind of chuckled when I got the letter, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we're definitely dangerous. Shouldn't have been driving at all." But anyway, we had gap insurance. We had all the bullshit, and we still ended up losing out. We still ended up owing money. We still ended up behind the 8 ball with no vehicle at no fault of our own. It wasn't our fault. The cops watched it happen. The insurance company knew she rear-ended us, and they're just like, meh. We had only had it for a while. Like, we had taken a loan on it, and it was too early in the loan to be even close. So nothing really added up. We got screwed in the whole deal. So just a word to the wise: if anything like that happens, don't ever feel bad for the other person that hit you, and take advantage of every possible thing that you can to make yourself whole, because in the end you won't be. So anyway, we scrambled. We definitely wanted another minivan. We understood that this would be a great vehicle for the homestead, for getting feed, for getting supplies, for all of it. We were going to use it like a pickup truck. So we started looking. Like I said, this was the trip home from our final inspection to buy our homestead, and which meant we were closing like in a few days, which meant we now had to drive an extra 90 miles to work, both of us, and we were losing one of our vehicles. Chris Dixon says that's what their liability insurance is for. Yeah. Yep. Sure is. Didn't work out that way. And so we started looking for a new vehicle. We had to get one fast because, like I said, 90-mile trip. One of us needed a vehicle. Both of us needed a vehicle, but we only had one at this point. So we got another minivan. We started looking. The only one we could find I guess everybody else in the world figured out that older caravans were really, really quality vehicles. And so we started looking. The only thing we could find that was really in our price range, now that we were purchasing a house and moving and all of these things, and this unexpected bullshit came up. The only one we could find was like one of the higher end packages. I don't know even what it was, what the names of the trim levels were. But this new one, the old one was cloth seats, no fancy things. I don't even. I'm guessing. I'm pretty sure it had power windows, but bare bones. We 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 found this one, and the it was pretty much the only one available that we could get on short notice like that. It was a high-end package. It was leather. It was all the bells and whistles, the auto doors, the auto windows, the auto hatch, like all the high-end shit that we didn't want. We're like, oh, this shit is going to be horrible. It's just going to be a nightmare. And so we go and look at it. We drive it. It rode nice. I'm not going to lie. It was the same. It rode the same as the other one. The leather seats were nice and, comfortable and this and that. But we're like, we want to use this for a farm. Like, do we really want leather seats? But like, it's the only option. We could have went higher priced and gone with like, what was it? The Odyssey or things like that. But we didn't. We went with this. We bought it. We brought it home. We were excited to have another a caravan. And then the bullshit started. So we had it for a while. Corey let me take it on a trip with my snow goose hunting buddies, which included her dad and her brother, so that helped. We took it to Arkansas to snow goose hunt. We stained all the leather seats with red clay with red clay mud. But it made it down there and back for the trip. The guys all busted my balls that we were going in a minivan. The guides busted my balls when we got down there about driving a minivan. And then by the end of the trip, everybody was like, holy shit, dude, I think we want to buy a minivan. It was so comfortable to ride in. It had each, captain's chairs. It was all by, you had your own seat. You could recline. You could do whatever you want. What a great road trip vehicle, especially for a bunch of guys that had a bunch of gear to go with them. And so we all loved it. It made the trip, and then the weird shit started happening. And I don't know if you remember back in the I guess, what would that be? The 2010s, the early 2000s. I'm not sure what year it was, but around that time there was some interesting shit going on with, I believe it was the Durangos, the Dodge Caravans, a few other vehicles were having these weird electrical issues, weird occurrences with the vehicles. I hadn't heard about it. Neither had the garage that we went to or anything like that. But one day, I guess it was one night, I'm sitting in the farmhouse. We had moved. No, we hadn't moved yet. The first time was in our house in the garage. Nope. I'm trying to remember what garage it was. It was at the farm. We had a detached garage about the same distance from the house in both. It was in the farm garage. The horn's going off. Yeah, that was right. It was at the farm garage because I thought somebody was robbing us. And I was like, after the fact, I'm like, who the fuck is robbing us at the end of this dirt road? I was still in city mode. That's how close it was to us moving. I go out to the garage and the horn's just going off, like the alarm of the vehicle. And so I grab a pew and I walk over to the garage and I walk in and the horn's just going off. Bah, bah, bah. I can't figure it out. I'm like hitting it. I'm hitting the key fob. Nothing's happening. it's just going off. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Chris Dixon says the wonderful TIPM issues, the bottom of the fuse box would crack and cause absolute fucking mayhem. Is that what it was? I thought it was that the module were corrupted, is what I ended up finding. But anyway, the horn's going off, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. It's the middle of the night. I grab a socket, and I unhook the battery, and it stopped. I was like, I'll figure this out in the morning. So hook it back up. Corey was taking that one to work and back. She didn't want it going off in the parking ramp at the hospital that she worked at. She didn't want to park there and have the horn going off. So she would go into work and get out her little wrenches every day. And when she got into the parking ramp, she'd pop the hood, she'd get out, she'd take the battery cable off the fucking battery so the horn wouldn't go off in the middle of the day. So we're dealing with this horn issue, and we're just like, what is going on? We take it to the garage that we ended up being really good customers at, but we were newer at that point. Getting to know them, we're bringing this in. We're like, hey, the horn randomly goes off. What's going on? And they look at it, and of course, it doesn't do it when it's there, and they can't find anything out. There's no codes. There's no nothing. So this is going on for a while. Corey's driving it home one day, and all of a sudden the windows rolled down on the highway. Good morning, K-Bonk. How we doing? Windows rolled down on the highway just randomly. And I'm like, okay, well, this is more than a horn issue. At the first symptom being just the horn, I just went down that line. I'm like, okay, well, it's a short in the wiring for the horn or something like that. It is what it is. Like, I wasn't a car guy by any means. And so and so now the windows randomly roll down, and I started digging a little bit on the internet, and the internet wasn't quite as easy to use as it is now. It wasn't old school internet, but you're still looking at forums and things like that. Chris Dixon says eventually it would corrupt the other modules. We replace a shit ton of total integrated power modules and body control modules. Yeah, that's the line I went down. I started researching this, and I got into all these forums, and people were saying, yeah, I've had weird issues. I've had all these ghost issues with these same controllers throughout all these different models of vehicles, the Durango and the Caravan, and there was a few others. And it turns out to be exactly what Chris Dixon said, but the company wouldn't recall it. They wouldn't cop responsibility. And so I brought my research to the garage, and I was like, dude, so this is what I'm seeing here. And he's like, yeah, well, we can't really do anything without manufacturer unless you want to pay for it. And by the way, they're on back order for like 6 months. Some stupid shit. Because everybody was replacing them, like Chris says. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that, because when I was reading, and I kept reading and reading, trying to figure out what to do about this, if there was something you could do, I found out that people were having their fuel pump just shut the fuck off while they were driving. Now, that sounds like a really, really safe thing to do for my wife, driving 90 miles back and forth from the city, going 65 miles an hour for an hour and a half. Just have her fuel pump randomly shut off in bumper-to-bumper traffic going 65, 70, 75 miles an hour. Who the hell knows in the cities how fast you were going? But it was bumper-to-bumper and in and out, and yeah, city driving. I didn't need the fuel pump kicking out on her randomly. There were also all sorts of other sketchy issues. If you could think of it electrically, it was going on with these Caravans. And so we took it to the garage. They spent countless hours on it. I could probably send him a message right now, and he would write back and laugh about that. And it's been 10 years. It's been 10 years since he worked on it. I'm sure he remembers it. And so, yeah, we went on like that for a while, and finally, and so we lost our ass on the silver mullet, which we loved. And then we bought this, and it wasn't long before we discovered that we were going to sell it. It was like within 5 months, because we would have bought it. We bought the farm in December. I went on a snow goose trip in February. And I would say we sold it probably by April. Probably by April. And so we really took it in the ass on that, because we had to roll the shortcoming of the first van into the second one, and then we had only paid less than 5 months on the new one, which was at the top end of our budget because it was the only one we could find. So we really fucking ate it on that one, and I was like, man, how are we gonna get what we owe out of this thing? We're gonna take it to a car dealership, and the fucking horn is going to be blasting in the parking lot when we're trying to trade it in. When they're evaluating the trade, they're gonna smell this out like nobody's business. They're gonna hear it. Something's gonna go sideways. and so Corey and I came up with a plan. We found the car we wanted. We transitioned from a minivan to a Subaru Outback. We were able to find one that was a stick. That was something Corey wanted to go back to. We still had one manual vehicle. We still had a Mazda 3 that was manual. That was kind of our high mileage car, and that car was great. We owned it from mile zero till we sold it at over 200,000. We searched and searched, and we found it was July 4th weekend, actually. I shouldn't say April. It was July 4th weekend that we went and bought it. Just the random shit you remember. I remember getting stuck in July 4th traffic on the way back, because we had to go 90 miles south of the cities, and then 90 miles south to the cities, and then through the cities down another 20 miles to a car dealership to find the only manual Subaru Outback in the fucking state of Minnesota. And so we made a plan. We made an appointment to go look at this car. We were getting ready to leave, and I said, yeah, I'm taking care of this horn problem. So I pulled the fuse for the horn. Pulled the fuse for the horn. And Chris Rewilder Life says, I'd love a manual again. And Chris says, yep, the ladies love the stick. I see what you did there, Chris. Rewilder Life says, ours blew a head gasket, a tranny at under 30,000 miles. Haven't owned a Dodge since. We love the Outback. We'd buy another one in a second. Dodge Caravan, loved it, but probably wouldn't buy another one. And so we go down. I pull the fuse for the horn. I put it in the glove box, and it sits outside. I'm waiting for the windows to roll down randomly. I'm waiting for the thing to start and like drive away. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen with this thing after the experience we had with it. We test drive the Subaru. We really liked it. We go inside. We're talking to the guy about numbers, and he's like, what do you owe on the van? And I told him, and I was like, yeah, we just didn't like it. Saw that we owed a lot still, and he's like, well, how long have you owned it? This, that, and the other thing. And so he's like, all right, well, let's figure out what we can get for your trade. I'll have my guy go out and take her for a drive and bring it in, take a look at it. I'm like, okay, here we go. Time to answer questions. And I had a plan, guys. I had a plan. If they asked about why the fuse was out, I was going to tell them, we got a dog. We got a dog that likes to stand on the wheel, and a lot of times he stands on the horn. So we just pull the horn fuse by habit. We keep it pulled so the dog isn't standing on the horn, honking the horn when the dog's in the car. I don't know. That's what I was gonna say if it came up. So the whole time we're sitting there, we see him pull away in the van. I'm like, the windows are going to roll down. The thing's going to be possessed. It's going to, like, this is our luck. This thing is just going to do everything under the sun. We're hoping to get like a couple grand for it. Guy comes back. It's like, all right, well, we took a look, and everything looks great. The van's in great shape, blah, 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 and all this shit. And he's like, this is what we want to give you for it. And he shows us the number, and I was like, yep, good. Sounds good. Perfect. It was like twice what we had hoped for. Almost got us out of the loan. After buying the house and starting a farm, we were pretty fucking poor, especially cash poor. And so, yeah, we got lucky. They never mentioned the fuse. They never mentioned anything. Nothing acted up while it was there. We quickly signed the paperwork, took the keys, and got the fuck out of there. Subaru was great. But man, that van, I will never forgive Vicky Danger. Vicky Danger, if you're out there and you happen to listen to this show, fucking eat a dick. Because all you had to do was hit the fucking brakes. All you had to do was watch the road and not pay attention to the fucking accident that was on the side of the road already. You wouldn't have broke your legs. You wouldn't have caused my life to go sideways. But as the Daily Stoic said today, I got to experience the possessed Dodge Caravans. I got to take it in the shorts. I was able to experience it. It was what it was. But Vicky Danger, yeah. Chris Dixon says, so read the Daily Stoic, folks. Right. Anyway, that was our experience with caravans. If you want to get one, they're really handy. I'm not gonna deny that. I would just be so gun shy. Chris Dixon, do you happen to know, or Pip, is there a model year that is common in? Like, can people avoid that bullshit? Did they ever fix it? Did they ever claim it? Because when we were going through this, they wouldn't acknowledge it. They wouldn't take responsibility. Or they wouldn't recall it. But everybody knew that that's what it was. I actually ended up buying a module on eBay from Mexico and installing it myself. And it worked for about a hot second, and then did the same shit. So I'm sure it was bad, and they just resold it to me. But you couldn't get them. It was just obvious that the shit was going down. And I was just curious if they ever rectified it. Pip says, we don't know what you're talking about. Diox $200 an hour, sir. Like, right? I can't, like, the amount of comped time we had at the service station we went to, because they felt bad for charging us. They're like, we can't find anything wrong, but we believe you. Like, we don't think you're nuts, but we can't find anything wrong. He says 2010 to 2013 were the real problem years from recollection. Yeah, that sounds about right. We were right in that wheelhouse. But holy crap, what a nightmare. So good luck. Good luck out there with your vehicles. I see that Ford's recalling a shitload of pickup trucks. Did you see? I saw the recall and I'm like, okay, well, first thing that goes through my mind. First thing that went through my mind. Real Island Life says yours was older than that. But you had a transmission problem and head gasket. This was all electrical. It was all in the control modules, the mystery and ghost issues and the random shit that would happen. I saw the Ford truck recall the other day, and the first thing that went through my mind was like, well, I don't have to worry about that shit. Mine's a 2011. No way that truck that old that they're sending out recalls. Like, what could possibly they figure out at this point? Oh, 2014 F-150s. 2014 F-150s getting recalled. And I'm like, okay, 10 years old. This is not too far off. It's not too far off. But yeah, I drive a vehicle now that was that's the same age or older than that van. Good morning, Jim. How we doing? Did you have a little sleep in time today? Rewilder Life says the glitches have been found out. Yeah, 2014's recalled. I'm like, wait, first of all, good luck finding F-150 owners 2014 model year. How many good old boys have sold their pickup truck to their buddies behind the bar and on the side of the road and, just chain of command? I still get letters from cars I bought from the dealership. Like, the record keeping doesn't keep up. Who's getting a letter for their 2014 F-150 if they bought it off Craigslist? Just like, good luck. Maybe that's why they put the big news announcement out. I don't know. K-Bong says loves his 87 Suburban. Other Life says never a Dodge here ever. My last Dodge was a 70s Charger. Pip says both my vehicles were designed 20 plus years ago. Solid vehicles. You couldn't give me a new car seeing how crappy they make them. Distracting. That's the thing that I noticed. Corey, we got a loaner Subaru a while back before we sold the farm, and Corey lost her fucking mind driving it from it was like an hour drive home, and she's like, I just can't do it. I can't do it. Like, it's so distracting. All the bullshit, all the sensors, all the lights and flashing and vibrating seat and vibrating fucking wheel and dings and whistles and the dashboard lighting up and the fucking windshield lighting up and oh Jesus. And I kind of laughed at her and I was like, yeah. And so I ended up getting a new service van, like brand new, 0 miles. I had to drive up to Fargo to get it from headquarters, and I spent 3-hour drive back home turning off all the shit in that van, the lane assist, the brake assist, the warning lights, this, that. Fucking every other thing under the goddamn sun. Why? They won't let me text message on my phone because distracted driving. I 1000% was just distracted by the fucking vehicle itself. And if all that shit was gone and I was on my phone and I was texting on my phone, I would be 1000% less distracted than the fucking windshield blinking at me from the steering wheel vibrating because it thinks I was going over the line. But we live in fucking Minnesota where the roads are covered with snow 90% of the fucking time. So you can't see the lines. So the car just guesses. Or there's a strip of snow, you know, like when the snow gets packed down and then it kind of melts away, and there's like the strips and it wears away where people drive in the tracks, and then there's the edge of the tracks, and it thinks that that's the fucking edge of the road. Chris Dixon says if Vicky Danger had that, you may still have the silver mullet. Fuck you. If Vicky Danger had a fucking brain, we'd still have our fucking silver mullet. Pip says forward radar cruise control system. The radar sensor is $1,200 alone. For what? I rented that car to drive out to North Carolina from here, and it was all pretty much all highway through like Nashville and Knoxville, and then out in the middle of nowhere. And it took me like a half the trip out there to realize that it had adaptive cruise control, and that it was set that I got within like a half a mile of a car and it matched their speed. So I'm like on the open highway. There's nobody around. I got this cruise set at 70 miles an hour. I'm just just thinking to myself. And I see a car get on the exit in front of me, like way up in front of me, you know, we're the only two cars on the road. And all of a sudden, I look down and I'm going like 50. And I'm like, wait, I said to cruise. Why the fuck am I going 50? I'm like, I'm hitting the gas and it's going back up to 70. Then it's going back down to 50. So I turn the cruise off and I go up to 70. I turn it back on and I set it to 70 and it goes back down to 50. And I'm like, what is wrong with this fucking car? Then I realized it had adaptive cruise control. It was matching the person that was a half a mile in front of me or whatever. As soon as it could see a fucking vehicle in front of it, it slowed down. Turn that shit off, really go. Pip says the FCC front collision control, where if the car thinks there's another car too close and the system breaks the car with an alarm. Yeah, that one's fun. Dixon says I personally enjoy replacing $3,200 headlights because of a rock. Jim's wondering if I matched their speed and challenged them. No, I didn't. I went through my head. I went through several iterations of the foul language dictionary, and then turned the fucking shit off and didn't drive with cruise control the whole rest of the way. And then I was able to figure out how to turn it off and use the normal cruise control that people with a fucking brain can use. So yeah, new cars. I don't know. I don't know what to do about it either. Like, there's a point, and probably soon, that that my trusty Rusty will be having to make a decision whether we dump a shitload of money into it or we look for something else. And I don't want to make that decision. I don't know. I don't know what to do about it. Just keep buying piles or something. I don't know. I don't know. Oh man. So yeah, that's our vehicle. That's our possessed Dodge and our beloved silver mullet that we had to get rid of. I would probably still be driving that thing today. No, we wouldn't. We wouldn't have been able to tow the camper with it. Man, maybe we wouldn't even have been nomads. Maybe we would have stayed on the farm. We would have been so content that we had the silver mullet, that the winter weather in Minnesota, the everything else. So maybe Vicky Danger put me on this path. And I'm happy where I'm at now. So maybe I should be thanking Vicky Danger for running into us and making us a little uncomfortable and realizing that Minnesota fucking sucked. Because if we had been content, we might have just rode out the winters. We definitely would have been in a lot less debt, not having to buy that souped up next caravan, and then the flip it right into an Outback. Maybe I should write Vicky Danger a letter. Chris Dixon says you owe Vicky a beer and an apology. Maybe I should write her a letter thanking her for putting me on a path to this life. Oh, probably not. Probably fucking not. One last thing left on the list today. There's a new smell around here. Good morning, John Palmer. Can anybody guess? Now, I'm not talking about in the camper. I'm not talking that Norman has gas. I'm not talking that I have gas. The garbage doesn't need to be taken out. Nothing like that. I'm talking about like outside. When we take the dogs for a walk, John Palmer had a survey instead of an ad. When we take the dogs for a walk, Corey and I noticed both in a couple different areas yesterday, there was this aromatic smell. Last night when I went out to do my business before bed, I was standing there. I took the dogs out. I'm taking deep breaths and I'm smelling this smell. For a while every year, especially when it rains a lot, it smells like sewer gas around here. John Palmer's wondering if this is a trash dump. We do have a trash transfer station like almost across the street, so that would be a good guess. No, they really do a good job with that. It doesn't really smell like garbage much at all, ever. Knock on wood. Sometimes it smells like a sewer gas around here, and I've always thought that it was our septic that we're using, but it's everywhere around here. Like a sulfur smell. It's not that. This one's actually kind of pleasant, except when it's a little overbearing. I don't know what it is, but it smells like body wash or shampoo. Passion fruit, maybe? I don't know if it's the mimosa tree blossoms are putting off odor at this point. If it's something else, another flower that's putting off this smell. But really, Jim says, what trees are blooming? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Literally, if you stand out there and maybe if you took a hose and put it over your head, but if you stand out there and close your eyes and breathe in, it smells like you're washing your hair or using body wash from like Bed Bath and Beyond. Chris Dixon says secret pooper got an air freshener. That might be the case, except it's like a mile away. It smells the same. It's a really good air freshener, or he's stalking us in the woods on our walk. Yeah, I don't know what trees are blooming. I don't know what flowers are blooming, but it was like yesterday, the day before, and like one day last week, I caught a whiff of it, and I was like, this smells kind of pleasant. It's not overbearing. It's there. I got to talk to Carrie, figure out what tree smells like Bed Bath and Beyond. Ask AI. Ask AI maybe. I got part of my order for the Raspberry Pi project that I'm doing with the cameras. I got the cameras, and the SD card. Basically, is what I got, and the power supply. The rest of the stuff was coming UPS. It wasn't there by the time I took off from Jamie's yesterday. So that should be here today. It's there. It got delivered. I got to pick it up today. That's it'll be interesting to see how it works. The cameras I tested out a little bit last night with the actual app that comes with them. I won't be controlling it through that. I'll be controlling it through the Pi. So I'm not sure how the cameras are going to work. We'll see. Jim says, I miss our lilacs. They made our yard smell great. That is one thing that we miss from Minnesota. We had several 100-plus-year-old lilacs in our front yard and throughout the area. And actually, Corey and I picked her a lilac blossom on our first date when we went for a walk together, and we were walking through the neighborhoods, and there was lilac, and I had smelled lilac and enjoyed that smell since I was a kid. And then when we bought our farm, that we had 6, I think, lilacs that they must have been 20-foot tall bushes, huge bushes. And every year on our anniversary, and they were in full bloom for our wedding. Every year for our anniversary, we had purple and white lilacs, and man, they would just blast open, and our whole yard would smell. Chris Dixon says my least favorite time of year is when the lilacs bloom. Makes me nauseous. I love them. They remind me of my wedding anniversary, and Chris Dixon, it makes him puke. John Palmer says, such a sweetheart. Well, you think that's a sweetheart. I actually saved the lilac blossom I gave to her on our first date, and then picked one on our wedding day, which was 8 years to the day later. Like literally 8 years to the day that we had picked for our first date. It wasn't 8 years. Yeah, it might have been, since the lilacs were in bloom. Actually, we were down in the cities at that point. It was probably a couple of weeks earlier. But the random date we picked on Facebook to be our anniversary, we got married 8 years to the day after that. I picked a lilac and dried both of them, and we have them in the camper here. One from our first date and one from our wedding day. And yeah, sappy bullshit, but I treat my wife right. I try to at least. She takes care of me beyond my wildest expectations, so I can never thank her enough for that. If I can pick some flowers and dry them and it makes her smile, then that's good. That's a win for sure. Anyway, let's wrap it up. I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta go out and do some work real quick this morning because it's an excessive heat warning today. Guys, it's summer. It's gonna be hot. Weird. I don't know if we need the constant heat warnings and heat index, and the heat index is this. I remember growing up, you guys just remember it being 90s. It's like in the 90s today. It's going to be in the low 90s today. It's going to be in the mid 90s today. Like I remember in New York, it was not uncommon. It wasn't with a feels like of 191, with a heat index of 117. Like, do we just change shit? It's like inflation. It's like the government financial numbers. Like, we don't like the numbers, so we're just going to change it to read the way we want to for our narrative. We're not going to count food and gas. Nah, that would be a bad idea, because that would actually might show what the number is. We're not going to count people that have been unemployed more than six months in our unemployment numbers, or a year, or they have to be collecting unemployment to be counted. Look at that, guys. Unemployment's going down. We're counting less people. Jesus fuck. Yeah, it's supposed to be 111. Excessive heat warning or some bullshit. I don't know. It's only supposed to be in the 90s. But it feels like 111, guys. Oh, anyway, I gotta get out of here and go get some work done, and then come home and do some more work and get some more videos put up. Guys, you can help me out. You can go over to Amazon, find my Amazon storefront and follow along if you haven't already. Amazon.com/the Lots Project. Oh wait, Amazon.com/shop/the Lots Project. And just hit that follow. I believe it's on mobile is the easiest. Chris Dixon says they made people stupid and then capitalized on it. Oh, that's what they did. They dumbed us down and then they gave us the whole 1-2. Oh, God. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone listening. If you enjoyed the show, it's always free to hit that like, share, and subscribe to return value for value. Please consider joining one of the YouTube membership tiers or listening on any value for value platform like Podverse or Fountain.fm. You can catch the stream over on Noster. I put the direct link to the live stream in the video description. I'm posting it on Noster every morning. I'm gonna start blasting it out on other socials to get some people trying that out. Yeah, you can listen on Fountain or Podverse, where you can do a value for value thing while you listen, or just listen to the podcast and give the audio download and just like any normal pod player. Other than that, you can visit thelotsproject.com or comfrey.roots.com to find more information about me and all my links, partner companies, recommended products, and all that. And yeah, there's plenty of discount codes over there too. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. We're going to get over the hump. We're having Mexican tonight with friends, and I'm looking forward to that for sure. Have a great day, guys. Make it a great day. Maybe think about what I said at the beginning and change your to-do list to a get-to list instead of a have-to list. Work on your get-to list. Figure out what the positive is in even the most negative situations in your day. Might make things a little better. It can't make them worse. Have a great day, guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow.